Angeles. I always feel like, because I rode my bike all over. I was in Chicago for 8 years. I rode my bike all over Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's a great town.
That's
to
a
bike
great
in.
bike riding town. In fact, when I'm there, I always get the city bike.
Yeah, grid system.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get all over multiple neighborhoods in no time. Here, it's just so much more space.
Yeah.
It's a sprawl. It's 30, 40 cities.
Yeah.
You're not getting to get from one to the next. To get from Culver City to Beverly Hills is a schlep, and they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
You know, and like the blocks are so long.
The blacks?
That's my.
They are rather tall.
I wouldn't expect this kind of discrimination from a fellow Midwestern townie. This kind of harassment of my accent. The blacks are real long out here.
Long wingspans. I mean,
but no, like the actual city blocks. The city blocks out here are so long that you know how it is, man. You gotta, if you're on surface streets and you want to get somewhere, you know, you give it a little extra gas, man. People start moving real quick, and that's just I don't feel. I used to feel safe biking in Chicago. I do not feel safe on a bicycle in LA.
Yeah, it's scary. You're constantly, your head's on a swivel. I'm looking around like I'm what's his name in Quicksilver, movie Quicksilver.
Oh, Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. Yeah, I'm just constantly like looking around and yeah. So speaking of Chicago, I'm going to be at Zany's in Chicago in July. If you want to come out, July 15th through the 21st.
There you go.
Cheap plug.
That's one of the best clubs in the country. That's my home club. That's my favorite club.
Old Town.
Yeah.
Bert.
Yep.
Okay. When did you start comedy, man?
I started in '98.
98.
Mm-hmm.
Been banging around.
Yeah.
And you started in Chicago.
No, I started in Madison. There used to be a comedy club there.
Comedy on State?
No, it was 2 clubs before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Were you from Madison?
Yeah.
Okay, explains the Milwaukee Bucks hat.
Yep.
I gotcha.
Yep.
And did you move from Madison to Chicago?
Madison to Chicago, and then Chicago to LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're working your way up.
Sold my bicycle, traded it in, got a 1992 Honda Civic, had a couple extra $100 left over after that, and got a mattress pad and folded it up. And I mean, I was, dude, you know, that year, moving to LA that first year.
Yeah.
Anyway, I moved across the country, you know.
I'm in it right now,
Yeah.
that first year. Everything's going wrong.
Oh.
Everything's falling apart.
Well, well, let me ask you, how wrong? Like, are you, when you go on the road, are you like packing all your shit in a car and parking it on the street somewhere? Or?
No, but I am in the process of finding a new place because I have to move out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
As soon as I get here, Brody dies, and
Yeah.
it's just been downhill ever since.
Yeah. I mean, it's what you'd expect, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, to do what, you know? There's a lot of good work out here, and if you want it, the line's long.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't have great tweets. If you go to @hypemen on Twitter,
Well, fire that up. Yeah,
it says, great friend and comic Nate Craig @hypemen is recording a live album this Saturday night. One of the truly funny people out there. Check him out. You know where that came from? Bill fucking Burr. Bill Burr tweets this out.
He did.
You got arguably one of the greatest comics of our generation saying, truly one of the funny people out there. That's an endorsement.
Yeah, I'll take that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he did me a solid there, yeah.
Yeah. And you recorded this album and it's out there, right? People can go get it?
Yeah, preferred customer, right? Anywhere you stream comedy, your Apple Musics, your Spotifys, anywhere that you, that you prefer it.
Yeah.
Hit me up online. I'll send you a copy if you want that. If you want the files.
You are a funny guy.
Thank you, buddy.
And I remember...
We met at the Orlando Improv.
Boom. And I remember watching you, and I'm like, oh, I got to follow this fucking guy. This guy's hilarious.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I was in town. I was there for a bachelor party.
Is that why you were in town?
I was just talking to my buddy Ari. Yeah, he lives outside of Orlando. And, we just did it. We were going to, my buddy, your maniac friends.
Oh, of course.
I had, like, one of my most just beautiful maniacs. You know, some of them, if it's a real maniac, you might, they might not have the connection, the ability to connect with people. They may just be straight deviant.
Yeah.
But the people that they got a little edge to them,
Yeah.
but also they have the capacity to be a good person and care about
Yeah.
people. Those are the people that I keep in my life.
Sure.
And this dude calls out for his bachelor party. He calls. I mean, this dude's been. I don't know how many times my buddy Ben's been arrested for for mostly for drugs that are legal now.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
but
yeah.
also a few that aren't. And fights and all this shit. And it's just like he calls out to a couple years ago, Green Bay at Jacksonville. That's what he wants for his bachelor party.
Really?
Opening week NFL season, Green Bay at Jacksonville. I RSVP'd faster for that than I've ever RSVP'd for a wedding in my life.
Yeah.
So we were in Orlando and we did Friday night Tampa.
Yeah.
We did strip clubs in Tampa, and then we did Saturday night at this big mansion that my buddy Ari rented on a golf course.
That's a great state to be in with a sketchy friend. Florida?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how. So that's when I met you. It was like right the night before I think that was a Thursday or something.
Yeah, yeah.
We did that on a Thursday, and then I went right into that
Oh, that's great.
gong show. Yeah, that was really fun. That was really fun.
I have those sketchy friends too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I did Doug Loves Movies. That's oh my god, that was the most stoned I've ever been on a podcast. I bombed on Doug Loves Movies.
Did you?
Oh yeah, dude, I was so stoned, and he yelled at some chick for talking.
Doug's never had me on that show, Doug Benson.
It was a great time. I had a great time, Doug, but I did not register a single point.
You bombed on Doug Loves Movies.
Well, I just didn't. I was like too. I'm not good with. First of all, I'm not good. I'm not well suited for that game.
Okay.
I don't care about actors' names. I don't care about actors. I care about hanging out with Doug Benson and getting stoned.
Yeah.
At a packed improv. That was fun.
Here's the thing. I've never smoked weed.
Never in your life?
Never smoked weed in my life.
Whoa.
And I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it with Doug.
But your haircut is so clean and your sneakers are so comfortable.
How's that align with smoking weed?
What, tilted like that?
Yeah, just
Okay, sorry. No, I was just throwing compliments at you because you can walk around like $1 million and not worry about ill effects of marijuana.
Yeah, well, I made up for it by being a raging alcoholic. So
Okay.
my whole thing was I didn't want to bring anything else into it.
Okay,
I was like,
okay.
let me deal with this demon.
Sure.
Before I go down another road.
Got it. Well, now let me ask you this: do you feel like alcohol? Because I feel like alcohol doesn't have me deal with my demons. It's how I sidestep them.
Well, when I started drinking alcohol to try to eliminate the pain, I knew that was a problem.
Yes.
I was like, this is not it's not medicine.
Okay. Yeah.
I was pouring depression on top of depression, and I go,
Yes.
that's not a good idea. So I had to kind of scurry away from it because it was becoming a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's insightful.
Yeah.
Good for you. I always felt like, and it was, it took me a while to figure it out, but like psychedelics, extrapolating from my relationship with marijuana or whatever, at least kind of asked my head for permission, at times, if that's the right phrase, if that communicates the analogy I'm trying to make, like you are kind of beside yourself. It's a little bit disorienting.
Yeah.
And then you kind of are forced to look at your decision making and your, the things you are not comfortable with from a little bit different vantage point. And that I guess that if I wasn't dealing with my demons in that way, it was at least presenting them to me in a way that
And you're like watching your demons and
little bit, yeah, just like kind of like what I mean, I'm tense right now. Why? Like I'm scared right now. Why?
yeah.
And like you either answer those questions or you don't.
Maybe I need to do that.
That's why I'm so glad to see mushrooms getting legalized.
Yeah.
Dude, I would not be the same person I am today without mushrooms.
Really?
Yeah, I would not. I've done mushrooms, I don't know, 100 times in
Really?
my life. I would not be the same person I am without hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Wow. Maybe I need to do this.
Oh, you never tried mushrooms?
No, I have not.
Yeah. You've done mushrooms? Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times have you done mushrooms? 4 times.
He's on them right now.
Every time it was a good experience?
yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ever any kind of shaky ground?
Let me grab a thing.
Hey, grab a mic, dude.
Venice Beach.
Venice Beach?
I got a little too Venice was a little too intense for me to be.
Venice Beach is an intense place. There's a lot of
It's a whole parade going on.
yeah. Yeah, I've done mushrooms. I've done mushrooms a lot, and the only bad trip I ever had. I mean, I've had moments where it was shaky, where I was like, because it is a poison mushroom.
Yeah.
So you get like the little bubble guts.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, and if you're in a different place mentally, you might attribute that to something up here.
Yeah.
As opposed to like something physical. Like I literally a couple times when I was tripping real hard, like I couldn't. Knew I felt off. I knew I felt bad. And I couldn't put my finger on what it was. And then eventually I realized I had to pee.
Really?
Yeah. So like, you know, and now that wouldn't happen now. That was as a younger, and I was like not familiar with the effects of the, you know, of the substance.
Yeah.
So I was a little lost
Yeah.
in my body, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, or
Do you get hungry?
No, not so. The thing about like mushrooms, he was saying you end up beside yourself and you can like talk kind of. One thing you can do is you can talk to essentially the mushrooms. Like you can say like, "Hey guys, like let's tone." Like it, you end up in a very weird point where you're kind of in tune with yourself in a deeper level. I think kind of where you were going with discomfort. I think bad trips come from bad people. I think if you've got some demons to figure out, that's not a bad trip. That's your actual stripped down self-conscious going, no, let's talk about who you are for a second. And every time I've ever done mushrooms for 4 or 5 months, I'm just I don't know. Do you feel a reset when it happens? Like you feel closer with everything and everybody.
Absolutely.
You're a much better person.
Yeah,
Like,
much more appreciative and definitely
I think politicians should have to do mushrooms. That's
I think
what
I think we should. I think politicians should have to be on
It's
camera
mandatory?
on mushrooms.
Yeah.
They should do the debates on mushrooms.
Yeah.
Town hall.
Yeah.
Town hall sponsored by.
But I mean, there were signs on the Laugh Factory 6 months ago. You could see actually Crystal, who canceled on Brady's podcast today, from her balcony, you could see signs that said legalize psilocybin. I know Oregon's also working on it, and Denver just did it. It could potentially revolutionize just the way a lot of people think. It's a beautiful thing for people if you don't treat it like a drug, if you treat it like a medicine to heal your soul.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Oakland did it too.
Oh,
which
really?
I don't know if that matters
No,
when,
yeah.
when a municipality does it.
By the
No.
way, I'm the opposite of Joe Rogan. I haven't done weed, anything. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm learning about this. And
Yeah.
LA's obviously a big advocate for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that it's like I said. It's,
What about creatively?
for sure? I mean, you kind of. I mean, it just opens up your head a little bit. I don't. It's one of those things where it's like sometimes when you smell like well, you've never smoked pot, but
Yeah.
like sometimes if I smoke pot and write, I'll be like, oh, we're flowing now,
Yeah.
man. We are flowing now. This is gold. This is 100%. And then the next day you're like, I don't know if I could sell that the way
Yeah.
I really thought I could.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually even. There's a couple of thoughts missing in that. That's not structured proper. I would say the same thing, maybe kind of a different
You're
variation.
more susceptible to humor, so things might make sense to you in a context. Like this is what happened. Since it is a poison when you take mushrooms, it's essentially food poisoning. At some point, a lot of people they'll throw up, and after you throw up, you're just laughing. It's just laughter the rest of the time. So I think you're hypersensitive, especially with weed, but also mushrooms, to what is you are more susceptible to laugh. So you think, oh, that shit's gonna be funny, and then when you read it when you're sober, you're like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Heavy on the revelations, like
Yes.
the discoveries.
Yeah.
Like you're definitely like, oh, you know what? I do like IPAs. I love,
Like it probably won't help you write. Like you don't sit down and write on it, but it will give you something to write about, I guess. Yeah.
And you have gratitude, I guess, right?
that's something that I.
Pretty universal. The gratitude's pretty universal, I
Yeah,
think.
that's a through line for me. I had a couple bad trips. One of them was I did mushrooms when I was in college. I went spring break. We went to Arizona, me and a couple friends, and I did mushrooms in the desert like every day for a week.
Oh, what are you, Jim Morrison?
Dude, it was it is a poison, and then I got back to Madison. I went to school in Wisconsin. I got back there, and my friends were like, such and such and such and such is in town. We're doing mushrooms. I was like, oh my god, I just did and I did them, and I was just like, my stomach was like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
And that was a bad trip. And then I was landscaping for a summer, and I went to a concert in Chicago, and I was just out of I was miserable in my skin, and
Wow.
I the next morning, poison ivy everywhere. So it was like in between getting poison ivy and the poison
that
ivy
sounds
breaking
terrible.
out. It was awful. It was awful, awful, and it was a big, huge mushroom, and it was strong. It would have been a great trip, I think, if not for the reaction, the allergic reaction.
So in your area in Wisconsin, do they grow, like, do you guys, would a lot of people, because I feel like in a lot of places, they kind of, the temperature, the environment kind of already, like Kentucky, for instance. I know a lot of musicians from Kentucky who just pick them out the ground and eat them. If you want them in California, people are like growing them. It's a more stable thing. Is that where you grew up? Are they everywhere kind of thing?
I
or-
never grew them. They were readily available. I don't
Yeah.
know where they came from, honestly. I imagine that most of the mushrooms I've ever eaten in my life came out of
They
somebody's
came from
closet.
Closet.
Avery's junkyard.
Where's that? I'm not getting the reference.
Making a murderer.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I know in some places they grow very readily, and young people in those areas are already so destigmatized to them because they just get bored. And, if you're in small coal town Kentucky, you're like, let's just eat these and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I don't think I know in different like places they're not. People understand they're not. They're not going to kill you. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like if you go to a big city, people are like those mushrooms sure are going to harm you. No, you're great.
And nowadays, people have a concept of like, what with the incremental packaging and distribution of substances, they have a concept for like, like microdosing is a thing now. You could just try. The best way, if you just want to dabble in some mushrooms, is to make yourself some tea.
Really?
Yeah, that's an easy one to do. You just boil the water. You drop and then you drop the mushrooms in. You let it steep for about 10 minutes, and then you can just drink that tea. And you can eat the mushrooms out of it too if you want.
Can you function throughout the day? Is it just if you microdose?
Yeah, well, I mean, function, sure. Yeah, I've done.
Would you recommend driving a car?
Yeah, so microdosing is like an eighth will induce a trip. A microdose is like 0.1 grams. It's like
What will that
it's
do
like
to
a
your psyche?
35th of an eighth, essentially. It won't do much. You're not going to trip. You're not going to have anything like that. Microdosing is more, it's a health benefit thing. A lot of people, so the psyllium in a lot of these, mushrooms will actually help build neuroways. So it says, a lot of people say that microdosing is actually good for creativity because it kind of, it causes your brain to form different pathways to different thoughts and different things. And, a lot of people use microdosing just for health.
Yeah. You hear this, Rogan? Suck it.
Oh, he already knows.
I'm just kidding.
Is the I've never eaten an eighth. Well, actually that's not true. I've definitely eaten an eighth of mushroom. That's a lot. That was a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah,
That's a lot of mushroom.
If you just want to have a good time, you eat like a gram.
Yeah, you can eat a gram of mushroom.
If you eat an eighth, you'll see something. If you eat 5 grams, you're gonna
Eighth
go to
is
the
just
moon.
the weight. It just has nothing to do with the potency of the mushroom.
Yeah, no, but
I've
it's
sometimes tripped as hard as I've ever tripped in my life on some grimy little
like a
handful of dust, and I was like, this isn't going to do
isn't gonna
nothing.
do it.
Pop.
Yeah.
And
Like,
the dust
dang.
is weird because like when you grind mushrooms, it doesn't like if you were to do it with, I don't know, we're way getting off at what Chad's into, but it turns into literal dust. You can create capsules and microdose with it too. Even it's good for you. You should try it. Welcome to California. How long have you been here?
January.
Nice.
No, I was actually, Sam Tripoli does a show at the Comedy Store like twice a month, and it's pretty popular, and it's sponsored by Speedweed, and they're in the back, and they got all the weed, anything you can think of, they have. And I'm like back there learning about microdose, everything. So they talked me into doing the CBD oil, and I take the caplets, and it does nothing.
Oh yeah, it's not meant to be euphoric at all. I mean, it's you mean it does nothing for your body?
I don't feel anything. It just like I don't.
Painkiller, right?
CBD, I think, is more of like it's anti-inflammatory more than anything. So in the right amount, it's gonna help. Like it's gonna help if you have like a shoulder problem, elbow problems. It's big on inflammation. If you have a terrible diet, it'll probably counteract some of what's going on there. But last time I was at the Comedy Store, there was a single mushroom on a piece of toilet paper on top of the toilet paper roll in the stall in the men's bathroom. I don't know if that's the best mushroom you can eat or the worst, but yeah, no, CBD is it's non-psychoactive. So
Oh,
just
okay. So I'm learning about all this stuff.
anti-inflammatory. Yeah.
I'm a dumb Midwest kid. I grew up in Cleveland. I mean, I didn't know anything. Like, I was a college kid. I was just a white guy named Chad,
They had mushrooms.
Just
in
a white
Cleveland.
guy named Chad.
which is the name of my album. Pick it up. It's streaming with, what was your album called again?
Preferred customer.
Preferred. If you're on Pandora, what I want you to do now is make a Nate Craig channel
Hell yeah.
and stream his stuff. And you could put me on his channel. I don't know how it works, but it helps because we get these sound exchange checks, and you can listen to it for free if you have Pandora. So
Yeah. I got 3 albums on there. Eggshell, Infinity, and Preferred Customer. If you hit me at natecraig.com, I'll send you all 3 of them.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man of the people.
He'll do it while on mushrooms.
Yeah. You said you've done them 100 times. you
I'd
think?
say, yeah, I used
Wow,
to.
that's a.
Yeah, I'd say I had a dumb little tradition when I was younger. I would do them once a season,
Okay.
and
What was the season?
4 times a year. Yeah.
it's always mushroom season.
Yeah, it's
I just I don't know. I guess I needed it.
Yeah. I hear that. Yeah.
I guess I needed it, and I also, but I guess the reason I came up with that is because I loved every season,
Yeah.
and I probably learned that on mushrooms, but
And Wisconsin's cold too.
yeah, well, dude, I mean, I would eat mushrooms and go play. I mean, I play hockey, and so I would go do. I'm not worried about the wintertime. Tripping in the snow is great.
Really?
Really.
Tripping in the snow is fucking dope. I mean, yeah, just stupid stuff like that. Oh, I love the snow, man, dude. I've always loved the snow.
So you're a drinker then? Do you like to drink or?
I had to quit drinking because I was becoming reckless.
Okay.
I was out of control. I was
Uh-oh.
one of my favorite things to do.
Sounds like we got some apology emails to
Oh,
go
yeah,
over.
Yeah. And tweets.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but one of my favorite hobbies when I'm drinking and I'm drunk is shoplifting, and I'm like, this could be a very dangerous hobby. So
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, I shouldn't be doing this. This is not cool.
Did you grow up in a
man.
small town?
Oh man.
Yes,
That
kind of.
screams small town to me. Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
grow up getting drunk with your buddies and see
Oh.
what we can pilfer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I still have a lot of that in me. So I'm afraid of me. So and drinking brings out a crazy part of me. So I'm like, I got to eliminate that. So
Well, good for you for realizing that and for doing it. What did you steal?
oh,
Chad?
I stole sunglasses, not these, but what else? Vodka. I sold that.
Are we talking like good
Candy.
sunglasses or are we talking like $10?
Cheap ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're having a good party, right? We got sunglasses, candy, and vodka.
I was
right now.
always stealing from the airport.
Ah,
That was like I get drunk at the
Stealing
airport.
at the airport.
Yeah, I would steal a lot at the airport.
What of all the places?
I feel like is that federal?
I don't know.
That might be.
Yeah, it's not a good.
It's not a good idea either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, but I only do when I'm drunk. It's like it's my superpower. Now they take away I can't do it anymore. Like I have to be drunk to do it.
Oh, so you're good at it.
No, I'm not good. I got caught once. I tried to
shit.
and this is on my album. I tried to steal a Ninja blender from a Kohl's. I tried walking right out the door, and I was hammered. And they they knew I was drunk.
Oh boy.
So they had to call the police and had to go to court. And the judge was a fan of mine because it was back in my hometown.
Oh, boy.
And he was like laughing and he's like, what happened? And I was like, I was hammered, Your Honor. And I was like, I was so drunk I actually thought I was a ninja. That's how drunk I was. And it's expunged off the record.
Expunged. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah.
It pays. It pays to be a Chad in a small town. you know?
Yeah. So
Damn.
so yeah. So
Ninja blender.
that was a bold one. I was going for it. Because I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings and I was binge drinking all day, and the Kohl's was next door. So I went in there with not the intent to steal, but I saw a Ninja blender, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I need this. Great, best part of the whole story. The next day, I came downstairs. I looked at my kid. I already owned a Ninja blender.
And you didn't know?
I was so drunk. I don't.
You'd stolen 2 Ninja.
No, I bought the first one. So.
This is my blender. I own this. I have this. That man, that's just not when I get drunk. That's not what I do when I get drunk.
Yeah,
I'm not that. I'm not. I'm. I guess, yeah, I do. Obviously, alcohol is a.
No, I'm reckless.
I'm just not. I play it safe. I go like. I guess I would not scared, but I definitely don't. My impulse is to be hyper aware, or at least
Yeah.
like I'm not getting in trouble. I'm trying to avoid trouble,
Yeah.
which is I guess that's a healthy thing to do on
Yeah.
alcohol. As
Well,
far
I
as-
quit drinking for an entire year once, a year and a half, and then I start casually drinking, and it was not a problem. And then I just when depression or something sets in, I just go down this weird path.
Yeah.
It becomes an issue, and I realize it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So when it becomes a lifestyle, then I just get reckless. Like I'm purposely. It's almost like I'm trying to kill myself without killing myself. If that makes sense.
That's heavy. That's real heavy.
Yeah. Maybe I should take mushrooms and evaluate why I'm doing this.
I would recommend it.
Mushroom
They'll help
party.
you find. Yeah, they'll help you figure it out.
I'm coming to Marina Del Rey to do mushrooms with you. It's going down.
I don't know if I want to be there for that, but but I would recommend it. I would recommend it.
This, I'm not joking. If you like the day before, just get a bunch of stuff you've been putting off out of the way. Get some stuff off your chest.
Oh, that's my life.
Write down 3 or 4 questions that you really have for yourself and contemplate them the evening before and then do it. And your mind will kind of just be primed and it'll put you in this place to.
Really?
I actually got that advice from an Ari Shafir podcast and it worked pleasantly for me. So,
Oh,
It's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ari's a big proponent of mushrooms,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
got a holiday for it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you get a lot of things that already upset you out of the way,
Does he?
Like-
What's his mushroom holiday?
they call it Mushroom Fest. It's the first full moon of June, I think, or something like that. Is what it always. It's sometime during the summer every year. It's called Mushroom Fest, and it's kind of done through his podcast. It's like, all right, guys, Mushroom Fest is coming up. Start getting ready. You got, and he'll tell people 3 months out, like, start looking. Get your free, throw them in the freezer.
Who books Mushroom Fest?
It's not like a fest.
Do they have a comedy tent?
No.
Nobody books Mushroom Fest.
Mushroom Fest happens individually all over, But yeah, no, it's
Have you done any other drugs?
Sure.
What have
Yeah.
you done?
Pretty much everything. I haven't done heroin. I haven't done
Pussy.
I haven't done I haven't done like ayahuasca. I haven't done DMT. I haven't done salvia.
Yeah.
DMT's curious to me. I always just judge it based on like who's recommending stuff and like what they say and
why they took it.
why they took it. People have recommended salvia to me, but their endorsements have been shaky.
Yeah.
And
You're not sold on salvia.
not sold on salvia. I don't know if I need that kind of proximity to a cliff. But DMT sounds like a wild kind of segment of your brain
Yeah.
to open up.
That's the deepest part, I think.
Yeah.
So before ayahuasca, do you think like preferred to? Because they're essentially the same thing, but one's 8 hours, one's 15 minutes. I mean, but it's a similar.
Right. The ayahuasca thing is just a sheer physical reaction is what I'm trying to avoid there. I don't
Yeah.
need to fucking be almost vomiting for an hour.
Yeah.
I don't need to vomit on drugs. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that. That's something that like I've puked enough in my life. I've eaten enough things that make me vomit. I'll just do mushrooms. I've never vomited on mushrooms, by the way. You said you have. I've never one time vomited on mushrooms.
Yeah, it's it is like it's your body, but I also when I do it few and far between, and I usually do bigger doses. I think
Yeah.
that's more of
Oh wow.
I want to
Yeah.
meet the maker once in a while. I don't,
Yeah.
but they are good. Just a small amount is really good for party. hang out.
Now, were you on mushrooms when you played Greg in Beer Pong Girls?
No. No, that was wow, that's a deep cut, friend. What are you
I'm on your IMDb right now.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So somebody added beer pong girls to that. I don't even know if I ever even saw the finished edit of that.
I don't even know what it is.
It was a webisode that a friend shot. Aaron Darling is the actress who shot it, and I can't even remember. I think I was just like they were literally making their way as a beer pong tandem. I'm explaining this because otherwise it sounds like I'm a pornographer. I'm a pornographer, and I am not. Beer pong girls sounds like a real, like it could.
When I saw you in New York, weren't you on a TV show? Weren't you saying you got casted in something?
Yeah, I did. I shot a Maniac, the show Maniac on Netflix.
Oh, is that on that? I haven't seen it. Who's in that?
Jonah Hill, Emma Stone, Gabriel Byrne,
Jesus.
Sally Field.
Look at you.
Yeah,
Did you meet Sally Field?
I did.
Holy shit.
Yep, sure
I would
did.
shit my pants.
Yeah, she was great.
Really?
Yep, it was awesome.
What an icon.
I kept my fucking mouth shut, and I
Did you ask Burt Reynolds questions the whole time?
no, I didn't ask nothing. I wanted to tell her that Places in the Heart was the first movie, the first serious movie I liked as a kid.
Oh, really?
I saw it and I was like, yeah, oh no, like she, because she's standing up she's fighting the good fight, and I
Yeah.
was like, that was like my first rush of justice.
Oh, did you
And-
tell this story on Doug Loves Movies?
No, I did not.
Okay.
But no.
Is there like a famous person you get starstruck by at this point? Because we've met everybody.
Yeah, I don't get starstruck. Well, that's funny. I say that. Ray's about to tell you that the couple times I've been starstruck. I saw Kareem on the street.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
See, that I would. Yeah, that's
yeah,
icon.
I was just like, that's fucking. I mean, first of all, he still looks like he could
Ball.
He could ball.
Skyhook.
Like the dude looks.
Kick Bruce Lee in the face.
He's just the most graceful, beautiful gazelle. I mean, dude's 7 foot tall, just walking straight,
Yeah.
walking. I saw him on the street at the side. I literally saw him walking down Main Street in Santa Monica.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's a welcome to LA moment. That
Yeah.
happened like, a year or two in, and I was just like, get the fuck out of here. Like, this isn't real.
One time, because I lived in LA back in the day too for like 2 years. I remember I was walking where UCB used to be downtown, or not UCB, but whatever the I don't know. It doesn't matter. I was walking down. It was a Sunday night down an alley, and there was a gentleman and a woman, and it was Harrison Ford and whoever he was married to, the actress.
Wild.
Yeah, and it was just like, holy shit, that's Han Solo.
Wild.
Yeah, that was very odd.
Yeah. Huh.
And he's like, hello. I was like, oh, hey.
He said hi?
Yeah, because we're the only people there.
That's
so,
pretty great.
Yeah. But yeah, that was like one of my holy shit moments, I guess. But
yeah.
like somebody like Sally Field, I'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah. I was, I mean, yeah, I was working, so I didn't really, I just knew that I wasn't going to bother her.
Yeah.
With my fandom.
With your nonsense, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I talked to Michael Rappaport, and when he did Copland, and he just fanboyed out on Stallone the whole time, but Stallone loved it. Like he talked about all the Rocky movies, and yeah, so sometimes it's hard to hide that fandom, and I like to be a fan of things sometimes. So
Sure. Yeah. I always just want to avoid asking the question that everybody else asks. Because as a comic, that's so tired. Like, I'm just like, oh, man, you're just saying the first thing that pops into your head. And I know that because it pops into everybody's head.
Sure.
And so I just shut up.
I always want to come at them with a deep cut, like I'm going to impress them, and they're usually not impressed.
Yeah. I was pretty starstruck. I have some friends that have a theater company out here. They're a bunch of kids from NYU, and they went to school with Chris Pine.
Oh.
And Chris Pine was right when Star Trek popped, the first one.
Yeah.
And then him and I forget the actor's name who played the young Spock, and they hosted SNL. And it was like the week between when Star Trek came out and then and it was like that Saturday night they had like they opened a play and had an after party, and it was like a thing. But by the end of the night, it was just like 12 of us, and Chris Pine showed up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I was a little bit shook by him as a person, because he was really nice.
Yeah.
Or like the moment that he was at in his career.
Yeah.
Where I was like, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, you're doing it, man. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, wow, you're the center of Hollywood right now. Like, nobody's bigger than you right now.
Yeah.
And I was struck by that.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have get blown away at Chris Pine, but speaking, if I met Leonard Nimoy, I'd go, "Wow, it's Leonard Nimoy."
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know. That's where I go with that.
Yeah.
So how long you been living in LA? Like 8 years?
I've been here, yeah, I think 11 years now.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And you're doing well though.
I mean, yeah, I can't complain. It's a wild place to try to come and make a career for yourself, but yeah, I can't complain. I've never been happier in my life. I just got engaged. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
that.
Then you have like a hot girl, fiance? Somebody told me she's hot.
That's what I call her, my hot fiance.
Somebody said that. Somebody told me.
I'll
that
take
he's
it.
like, yeah, I don't know who it was though.
I'll
But
take it.
congrats,
That's what
man.
you want people to say about your fiance.
Yeah. That's the word on the street.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, she's hot.
That's cool, and she puts up with the shenanigans.
She does. Yeah, she does.
Yeah, I gotta find somebody that can deal with this nonsense. That's all it is. Can you deal with my nonsense?
Mm-hmm.
And you found that one.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a nurse. She deals with. I mean, instant perspective.
Boom. That's it. Nurse. Because I got another buddy married a nurse. Married a nurse. They travel. If you needed to relocate, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
They help people. I gotta get a nurse.
Right. Her default setting is just a complete selflessness, and I mean, she's wiping people's ass at their most vulnerable moments, and the stories that she tells me from the hospital are just staggering.
Right.
I mean, life is good, bro.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Right.
And, she's got to unload all this stuff, but she's talking about it very matter-of-factly because it's her office. And it's what she's dealing with every single shift.
How does she detach when she comes home?
I think it just gives her it just makes her, she's just very in touch with parts of the human experience that I've never even considered.
Yeah.
Do
you feel like a piece of shit?
Well, I mean, it's not.
Can you elaborate? I'm
I mean,
fascinated
just
by that, yeah.
well, I mean, first of all, I'm not nearly. I mean, how well I'm acquainted with my mortality or just mortality in general. A lot of it comes from her now and the stories that she's told me as over the time that I've known her, and we've known each other for about we've coming up on 4 years now.
Yeah.
And, before that, I had seen a couple dead bodies.
Yeah.
But I had never seen anybody. I'd seen a couple people really fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
And kind of getting, losing their lives.
Oh, I lost my mom last year, and it was when you see somebody like they know it's the end, it is like whatever, it's all stripped away. And you could just see who that person really is, and she's like, I'm alive today. And I could feel it. You can't even put it into words, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it made you ask what does that mean, and where does that force go, and does it go anywhere at all?
Yeah.
Or is it just here?
I think about that all the time. Like as I get older, I'm in my 40s now. I'm like what's next? We have this, but what's after this? You know, it's like I'm talking on mushrooms right now.
It's good for you.
Because I'm not a very spiritual guy, so I don't really subscribe to any religion or. So I just don't. I'm clueless.
Catholic Church?
No, I grew up. I have nothing.
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 You didn't go to church on Sundays?
Every now and then we would go, but
So what?
it was a Christian church, but it was never force fed. It was never.
Evangelical?
I think so, yeah. But that's not my. I was never like this is what you have to believe in.
So your family was just about going to a thing.
Yeah, going to a thing,
Yeah.
making yourself feel good.
Yep.
Throw some money in the basket. That's about
It's
it.
going to somebody who wants something for somebody.
Yeah. Then I dated a Christian Scientist.
Okay.
So I went to her church, and that was weird.
Yeah.
So I see I kind of like I just navigate and watch, and I'm like, okay, that looks weird. That's cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
I live right down the street from the Scientology building.
Yeah.
So what's your background with that?
My dad was a choir director at a cathedral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but never really pushed the religion on me.
Yeah.
He was not an Old Testament guy.
Oh, that's good.
He was really just about the music. He
just like to rock out.
He liked to rock out with elderly people. He liked to rock out with elderly volunteers. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there was a lot of that, and like the one time, this is something I'm trying to work out to do on stage is getting kicked out of Sunday school
Yeah.
because he just wanted a cheap babysitter, and
Yeah.
since he was the choir director,
He can unload you for a little
he
bit.
could unload me, and I could do whatever I want, dude. I walked in there like fucking Drake, dude. No,
The Drake.
no new friends, dude. Like my dad's the guy. Like, what are you gonna tell me? And I, as a kid, I think, you either take what your parents say as gospel or you question everything, and it depends on how you were raised and maybe your personality or maybe a combination of both.
Yeah.
And I was just a fucking shitty little kid, dude.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna let anybody tell me anything.
Right.
And my relationship with religion has never really rebounded. I definitely don't care about the Bible. It's such a specific story.
Yeah.
I think if I try to nail down like why it was that religion never spoke to me, it was just like, you're really threading the needle here.
Yeah.
This story is the one. This story.
Yeah.
This one right here. First of all, as soon as I found out what sex was, I didn't believe in immaculate conception. I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's not how it fucking works. That doesn't happen. You instantly have to believe in voodoo
Yeah.
for the rest of the story to make sense. And I was just like, no.
So you don't believe in the whole Mary getting pregnant?
No.
That's bullshit to you.
I mean,
I'm just asking.
I don't know what's what. I don't know what's what. My mom's aunt used to get really mad at me because she was a devout Catholic.
Sure.
This is the other side of my family, and she was way more, opinionated about it than my dad ever was, or even anybody that I ever met through the church. It was a cathedral. It was St. Raphael's Cathedral.
Well, let me tie this all together. So your girlfriend or fiance is a nurse, and you're thinking about, and so going back to what we were saying, like, well, like, what is your belief system now, like, with everything? Say you have a month to live.
Yeah, I'm going to try to. I'm probably going to do a lot of meditating and head clearing, so as not to be.
You're going inward.
Okay, so I've yoga
Sure.
became a way for me to kind of exercise without the kind of, it was an exercise that I gravitated towards.
Yeah.
And then the meditative part of it has really kind of opened up not a different part of my consciousness, but just a more reliable part of my consciousness.
Okay.
And I've learned to appreciate the process of clearing my head out.
Right.
Because what percentage of my thoughts are constructive?
Yeah.
Very low.
Yeah.
Very low. I have a lot of constructive thoughts. I have a lot more thoughts
Sure.
that are just
Clouding that.
clouding anything that's worthwhile, as far as like.
No, I started to do yoga too, and I do it for the mental, nothing else, just for the mental capacity. And
I do like I mean, I love the physical effects of it, but I think that the breaking a sweat and raising my heart rate contributes to a mental clarity that achieves what we both are talking about right now.
okay.
Because that's really also my favorite part about it is the mental thing. But I wouldn't really have those benefits if it wasn't like such a cathartic, just kind of full body experience.
So you would go inward if you had time.
I would try to just calm.
Nothing spiritual.
I would try to calm myself. I mean, I think that's really anything I would. I mean, what am I going to do? Where am I going to get to?
Yeah.
Oh, this is how I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's not necessarily true. This is how I think right before I die.
Yeah, right.
I would just try to calm myself.
Yeah.
I would just try to calm myself, and I would try to achieve some sort of peace and connection with the people that are still in my life and have been in my life that can't be here now.
Yeah.
Or before I go away.
Like when I lost my mom, like I obsessed on her last thoughts. So I just would not let it go. I thought about it nonstop, like her last thoughts.
I think about that, people that I've lost.
Yeah.
I do. I think that's interesting. Yeah, because you want for them.
Yeah.
You want for them. You want peace for them. You want, absolutely. What do you?
What's that?
Well, I don't want to push you on it, but
No.
what do you think she was in a good place?
No, I think she died from regret. I think, personally, I think she was ashamed. She felt shame for things she have done, and that was what pushed her. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it kills me that she thought that way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I think you. Did you have a good relationship with your mom?
it was very rocky, but I was able to put it at peace towards the end. Like everything was kind of stripped bare, and I told her I loved her and all everything. And wow, what a comedy podcast here.
This is more interesting to me than most of it.
There are a million podcasts talking about comedy. I think people can find one. Yeah, this is way more interesting.
Way more
yeah.
interesting. So
Yeah.
let's not get up. So, I mean, don't you think that in and of itself is probably gave her some, at least a part of that?
I would
gave her
like to
peace.
think so.
Yeah.
In my obsessive thinking about it, I would
Uh-huh.
like to think so. But I also know she was constantly telling other people how she felt bad for this, that.
Okay. Well, but you wanted to do that for her, so she obviously there was a very healthy side of your relationship that was built out of love and loyalty and
Yeah.
that came to her. That came to her
Right.
aid at the end of her life.
Yeah. Like
In the form of you and also kind of your relationship, and I'm sure you weren't the only one in the room, but
yeah, here's the last text I sent to her. This is kind of creepy, but this is
creeping out mom on her deathbed.
But this is the last, and just put it all together. When I found out about it, I was actually in Zany's in Chicago at Rosemont, and I was driving like right before I got the car to drive home to see her. I got the call, so I had that 6-hour drive to Cleveland, just crying. It was the worst fucking drive of my life, miserable.
Yeah,
But
it's a long drive too.
yeah. So where the hell is it?
I always feel like that drive should be shorter. It's not though.
Oh, from
Cleveland's over there.
it is. It's 6 hours.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's a strong 6 hours too.
it's
not-
strong. Yeah,
you think you're going to make it in 5.5? You're not.
yeah, exactly. And I'm always passing the mega bus on the way there and back.
You should just be on that megabus.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, here's the text. So it says, "Hey mom, I just want to let you know I love you and I'll see you when I get back." So and I never saw her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Well, there's nothing creepy about that.
well, it's just weird and then there was no reply. It
No
was just
reply.
that was it. That was the last. So,
Did you get to? You told her you loved her before that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like I did it for her, and but talking about what your girlfriend sees on a day-to-day basis, I'm sure she's seen so many people just go
Yeah.
to the other side, and I as I get older, I constantly think about that, like what's on that side. I know you don't have the answers, but it's just like, should I get more spiritual?
Well, Chad, you're in luck. Like I said, 100 mushroom trips under my belt, and I'm here to answer some questions. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I just think the lights go out. I really do. I think that there's a
Fade to black, and it's done.
fade to black, and you're done. And it's that I think that I don't have. I mean,
There's got to be something though, with this universe. There's
I
got to
don't.
be.
I don't
something.
think there has to be.
No,
I don't think there has to be. I think if there has to be something, it's
we're not getting reincarnated. Nothing.
It's beyond us. It's a bigger. Just the infinity of the universe is so mind-boggling to me
Yeah.
that the infinity of the universe to me is a bigger concept than the afterlife of humanity.
Yeah.
And so I kind of don't ever really think about the afterlife because it's so limited.
Right.
It's so limited.
Right.
What would it be? I mean, you could get reincarnated. You could get reincarnated infinity times. It's still not as big as infinity.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a great point. That's crazy. Yeah.
yeah, there's just like the infinity's so big. There's another us.
Right. Some parallel universe.
There's an infinite number of us's.
There's an infinite number of this podcasts that's been had that are having different conversations.
and it's going on right now.
And then there's one that's just like us.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really wrap my head around that, and I don't think, the the nature of the human spirit even approaches that level of
Understanding.
vast
Yeah.
expansion.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so wild to me. You know, I think that we're just lucky to have a consciousness.
Mhm.
You know, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing because it's really just what we make of it. You know, and as corny as that sounds,
Do you mean us in relation to like animals, or like what do you mean? Like,
yeah, anything that blinks,
yeah.
anything that blinks or doesn't,
Hmm.
anything that feels, anything that makes decisions,
Hmm.
anything that is trying to survive, just the sheer even if they don't, even if that organism doesn't realize that they're trying to survive, I guess the impulse to survive is just is a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, for us, we can complicate it. We can make it more about right and wrong and life and death and good and bad. But I don't know what's what. So I guess I just rely on the fact that thinking about it is.
Why am I so depressed right now?
I don't know. I feel good.
Because yeah, because you haven't had 100 mushroom trips before this conversation.
God damn it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I find that's the like the after you come to whatever, or after you grapple with what you're talking about, I feel like the depression almost is set free because you're like, oh, there really is no answer. Like I'm not doing the wrong thing because there is infinite, and you know it's I feel like you could find liberation in that conversation just as easily as you could find depression in it.
Yeah. This is deep, man.
Yeah.
This is very deep. Now, do you believe in
You're gonna need to sit
extraterrestrial?
down, Zumock. You're gonna need to sit down.
Sit down, Zumock.
Oh,
All right.
Zumock, I apologize.
No, Zumock.
Oh, okay.
It's my long. I don't want to.
Yeah, okay.
It's a long story. Do you believe in like this other things out there?
For sure.
Yeah. Do you think
Yeah.
they've had any contact with us whatsoever?
I honestly believe what I said.
Really?
There's another us out there.
Yeah. Do you think we've had any kind of interaction?
Of course.
There's an infinite number of scenarios. In his mind, there's an infinite number of scenarios in which you guys are best friends. There's an infinite number of scenarios in which you guys hate each other. There's an infinite number of scenarios in which you had this conversation.
Yeah.
There's an infinite number of scenarios in which you had this conversation, but you spilled water. Like, in his, like, what he's saying is yes, no, always, forever, not at all. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well put.
Thank you.
You just
Well
you
put.
tied it up in a bow.
Yeah.
That's why this guy can produce a show.
Yeah, no, I definitely, you know, there's no way that there's not. I mean, if my understanding of infinity beyond our atmosphere and into wherever it goes is correct,
Right.
my notion of it, there's no understanding of it.
I got you.
Then yes, there's for sure everything.
What if you die and we find out all these answers?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I mean, my own,
I've been wrong before.
my own, you know, my own like animalistic impulses would love to be the reason for the discovery. Like
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
take me to die before the answers came out. You know, if they flew out of my dead mouth, you know,
Yeah,
then then awesome.
The crazy thing about our world is if somebody, like, if you die and then, like, you end up in a room somewhere with a guy who's like, what do you want to know? You know what I mean? And then he could sit here and go, well, I want to know about infinite. And I'd be like, no, let's talk about where I just came from. Like, what happened with JFK? What, like, there's so, you know, like, if once I get to the realm of.
Look. You're past that. now.
Yeah. I'm like, no, we got to talk about all the craziness that I just left. And you're like, no, it's about to get way weirder.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. Did OJ really kill Nicole?
JFK, what happened to him? All right, well, let me bring him in here.
John!
Jack, come on in here.
He just walks in and sweat. He's just so tired of the conversation.
We got a rookie wants answers.
This guy on a grassy knoll, blah, blah, blah. I got to get out of here. Well, this has been a great conversation with you, man. I'm
Yeah,
glad
buddy.
you could come through. So where can people find you again?
NateCraig.com.
It's an easy name.
Yeah, you check me out on Maniac on Netflix.
Beer Pong Girls?
Find all my albums streaming. on all your favorite platforms. And I'll be on the new season of F is for Family.
Oh, Billy Burr hooking it up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What voice are you doing?
I'm doing airport worker from Wisconsin.
Oh, well,
He needed a real townie.
so he's just like, I got
Yeah.
the perfect role for you, pal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So
It
you went in
fit.
there and did, isn't the creator of The Simpsons that did F's New Family or something?
The showrunner, I think so.
Okay.
Or one of them. Yeah.
Who else does voices on that show? Do you know?
There's a bunch of people.
Anybody?
Josh Adam Myers is a DJ, I think.
Oh, okay, because he's got that voice.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
And
He's got the voice. Well, that's great. You got a lot of good things going. You're about to get married, and I'm happy for you. You're one of the good guys in comedy. Every time I see you, I look forward to it.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you for having me.
No, for sure. It was my pleasure. But write review 5 stars. Thanks for listening, and that's a wrap.